Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. I'm excited to kick off video number 2 of our new series called the 5-Minute Resume Review. If you're new to this channel, my name is Neel. I used to work at Bain & Company for about 2 years, and I like to make content that can help you more confidently apply to any of the big 3 or other elite consulting firms, regardless of if you go to a target school or not. In this specific series, as you can probably guess, I'm going to be reviewing a resume in under 5 minutes. And this is actually a resume of someone who is actively applying for the big 3 consulting firms. I'm going to use all of my experience, having successfully applied myself, having worked at one of these firms, done resume screening and interview selecting, and then also just outside of that, helping people up to 50 or 60 get offers from any of the big 3. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Off the bat, I think this resume is pretty standard. I think if you go back to the first resume video that we did, I was mentioning how that formatting is a bit unconventional, whereas this is a bit more conventional, but I don't love it so far. And I'm saying that because I see all of this white space on the left-hand side, and the fact that each of the headers of each experience is 2 lines, whereas it could easily be condensed into 1. I wouldn't be surprised if this person is doing this because this is the format of their business school that they seem to be attending. But if they were able to have more freedom over their resume, I would definitely make sure to change up this formatting. For example, for this first bullet, put Credera first, management consulting intern next, and then comma, Dallas, Texas. And then put the date all the way on the right-hand side. So that way, 1, you free up a lot more space, and then 2, you have everything in 1 line. But anyway, let's start from the top. So education, work experience, leadership involvement, honors, certifications, cool. All pretty standard, nothing special there. Looking at the education, I think it's good. This is where it gets a little confusing because a bachelor, I don't know if this, I guess this GPA is specifically for this, and then he doesn't have his Master's of Financial Management GPA just yet. But I don't know, because he's probably he's graduating with this degree next year, so maybe he's taken some classes and can probably tell us a little bit about the GPA. But if not, then it's fine as is. The other thing I would do is shorten this. I would say if you can, MS in financial management and then BS of business administration. That way it's just fewer words and they don't have to read as much. Also, this is something that happened whenever I was applying. Maybe this isn't true whenever this person's applying, but consulting firms generally, I think, want to see your high school test scores, which I think is kind of weird. But if you have a good ACT or SAT score, or even a good GMAT or anything like that, or GRE, I would recommend that you put it. The more numbers that you can show a consulting firm that you're smart, the better. All right, so now going into the actual important stuff, which is the content. Let's see, manage software migration process and transfer 103. Okay, cool. So the person writes clearly, which is good, but he doesn't answer the so what by any means here. And the reason I say that is because I don't know what the value of this was. Sure, you transferred 136 clients to a more efficient cybersecurity system, but what was the actual impact of that? Did that save them money, save them time, save them cybersecurity attacks? You got to tell me. Conducted market sizing and product strategy analysis to assist blockchain tech startup in projecting future revenues. That kind of tells me the so what, but there has to be some sort of numbers that you can apply to the actual impact that you drove. Whether it was the fact that you got to help them more accurately forecast their revenues, or maybe they made better decisions or something like that. Any place that you can put numbers and quantify your impact, you need to. Going further, see the personal tennis business. Okay, that's pretty cool. And so he's a private coach. But then that makes me question, does that need to be in work experience? Obviously it is him working and making money, but that might be in leadership and involvement, because I would consider this to be quite different than what he did at Credera or PwC or this other corporation or AT&T, right? It's not like he's working for a massive corporation. Now, if he framed this differently and said that he was a founder of his own personal tennis business, that'd be a little bit different. And maybe he kind of is putting that, but maybe then you need to change up the wording of private coach, because that makes it just sound like you're one coach of potentially many. And so what does he do? Develop 1-hour individualized lesson plans to accommodate various tennis with unique skill sets. I don't know if that line is necessarily the most valuable, that's kind of inherent in what a tennis coach does. But the second bullet gets at what I think is more important, which is the number of clients that he serves and how much revenue he makes, how many hours per week he might be doing that, advertising, private lesson business through online marketing. There are definitely numbers that you can put towards this, either conversion numbers or hit rates or site visits or something like that you can put. So you need to be putting numbers there as well. I'm assuming that he probably wrote in the same language and with the same style as the rest of these, so I might skip down and look at the leadership involvement. Okay, cool. So corporate finance program, he was the president. All right, that's cool. I said in the first video, I'll say it now and I'll say it again in the future. Whenever you're the president of a club, or if you do something that's hard and then you can convey the turnaround or the stark increase that you created, that's always an amazing thing. So let's see if he conveys that. So organization of 35 members and directed operations. Okay, so this first line is very vague. 35 members, that's cool, but I don't really know what this club does. Is this club or is this program there to help students get offers from places? Is it to help them get more exposure to leaders in the area? I don't really know what it's doing. And I don't know what he did as a leader besides the fact that he was the president, right? Coordinated recruiting efforts and increased informational session attentions by, okay, that's cool. Increasing the percentage by 150%. I might also put how many people, because there's a difference. Of course, if it went from like 10 to 15, maybe you don't put that, but if it's like 50 to 75, 100 to 150, or 1,000 to 1,500, obviously that's probably a little exaggerated, but yeah, you know what I mean, right? If the numbers are impressive, you want to add those numbers as well. And so I think I'm seeing a theme here of wanting this person to answer more of the so what, but then also using numbers to help answer that question as well. So now let's go down honors, certificates, and activities. Okay, cool. So I think these are all good. I'm glad that this person didn't seem to put anywhere that they have a skill in Microsoft Office. You should never do that. Everyone knows Microsoft Office these days. This person seemed to put real things. So you won a case competition, certificate. Okay. In the case competition, I think this might be the same as this one. If that's the case, that's good that he put how many students are awarded, but there's a lot of people out there who will put an award. They might just say that they won the award, right? But it would be really impressive, and it's always better to say that you might be one out of X number of people who competed for it or who applied. If you have those numbers, and if you don't, I would say do a rough estimate, right? You could figure out at least roughly how many people applied to or you were competing against, right? Let's see what else. Activities, a lot of activities, that's cool. And then the last thing is interests are, okay, they're relatively varied. It's better than other people who say that they love like traveling and cooking, right? It's like, okay, cool, everybody and their mom loves traveling and cooking. But I would actually push this person to be a little bit more specific. What kind of music do you like to produce? What kinds of songs do you like to write? What kind of racket sports? Just something that shows that you're a real person and that you have interests that are very niche and specific, right? Everyone loves traveling, but no one's going to react to that positively. But if you say something really specific of like, you like investigating Portuguese architecture, that's really interesting. Or at least a conversation starter, because anyone who sees that is going to say, oh wow, like how'd you get into that? So that's the quick resume review of this resume. If I were to sum up the themes, this is what I would say. 1, always answer the so what question. So what meaning, if someone asked you, so what, to the bullet that you had written, what would your answer be? And then make sure you put that in the bullet. Always lead with value and impact. The second is use numbers to tell that story of value and impact. Numbers, whether it's percentages, increases, or just absolute numbers, are always impressive and draw the eye. And then the last one is be specific. Whenever you do things, whether it's leading an organization or have interests, be as specific about those as you can. Because if not, it's going to be boring. And you don't want to be boring because you're not a boring person. I think also the lighting is getting bad, so I'm probably going to end the video there.